Long ago, in the sunlit kingdom of Varel, music echoed through marble courtyards, and rivers ran bright beneath bridges of gold. The people were content, their rulers beloved, King Alaric and Queen Isme, wise and gentle. Yet, in all their splendor, one ache remained. They had no child to inherit their throne, or their love. Years passed, prayers whispered, candles burned to wax and silence. Then, one spring morning, a cry was heard from the royal chambers. After a day and a night of labor, the queen gave birth to a son. The kingdom rejoiced. Bells rang, flowers covered the streets, and the court prepared for celebration. But when the newborn prince was brought forth, a hush fell upon the room. The child was strange. His face was delicate yet uneven, his nose a little too large, his frame too slight, and atop his head stood a single tuft of hair, bright as a quill of silver. Courtiers exchanged uneasy glances, yet when the baby opened his eyes vast, intelligent, and full of awareness, the queen felt her heart tremble, not with sorrow, but with awe. A voice broke the silence. From the shadows stepped a figure wrapped in green silk, a fairy, ancient and serene. "Do not mourn," she said softly, "for though your son's face may not please the world, his mind shall. His wisdom will outshine the handsomest princes of the earth. And, when the time comes, he shall bestow that same wit upon the one he loves best." The queen wept with gratitude. The king bowed low. They named the boy Riquet. But in time, the people called him Riquet with the tuft, the prince whose hair refused to be tamed, and whose mind could not be bound. Riquet grew as the fairy had foretold, quick-witted, endlessly curious, charming in conversation. By age 6, he outwitted tutors. By 10, he solved riddles scholars had debated for decades. But even brilliance has its shadow. Behind laughter and clever speech, he hid a quiet loneliness. Children mocked his looks. Nobles smiled with polite pity. He learned early that wit could win laughter, but not love. His mother saw this pain from afar, whispering to herself, "Wisdom is a crown, but it does not keep one warm." Across the Silver Mountains, beyond Varel's borders, lay another kingdom, Armandia. Its rulers, kind and devout, had also prayed for children. Fate, it seemed, heard them both, for the queen gave birth to twin daughters. The same green-cloaked fairy appeared at their christening, her expression calm and mysterious. "To the elder," she said, "I grant the power to bestow beauty upon the one she loves best. To the younger, I grant the power to bestow intelligence upon the one she loves best." The twins were named Clarice and Leonore, two halves of a whole. Clarice grew into a girl of breathtaking beauty, her hair like sunlight, her smile like dawn. Yet, when she spoke, her words fell flat. She could not follow stories nor understand poetry. She was lovely, but vacant. Leonore, her twin, was plain, her chin too sharp, her eyes too thoughtful. Yet when she spoke, rooms quieted, her words danced, her laughter glimmered with insight. Courtiers forgot her face and leaned in to hear her thoughts. Years passed. The two sisters became women. One adored, one respected. But admiration is not affection, and Clarice's beauty became her prison. Men sought her for her face, not her soul. Her mind, dull and clouded, could not express the storm of longing she felt inside. One morning, weary of flattery and hollow praise, Clarice slipped from the palace and rode into the royal forest. She sought solitude, a place untouched by judgment. The air was cool beneath the birches, birds sang softly, the river whispered secrets to the stones. At the same hour, across the border, Prince Riquet, now grown and wise beyond his years, had also left his palace for quiet thought. Guided by fate, his path wound through the same forest. When he stepped into a glade filled with sunlight and saw her, a vision of sorrow and grace, he stopped as if struck by lightning. She turned, startled. Her beauty was legendary, but it was not beauty that caught him. It was the sadness in her eyes. He bowed low. "Forgive me, princess. I thought this place was empty." She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "You may stay. The forest is wide enough for two." They spoke, at first of simple things, the scent of pine, the quiet of the woods. But their words deepened, spiraling into wonder. Clarice found herself listening to ideas she'd never imagined. For the first time, conversation felt like music. Riquet saw her silence, her yearning to understand. Gently, he said, "Princess, I see the sorrow behind your smile. Would you wish for the intelligence to match your beauty?" Her breath caught. "More than anything," she whispered. "But such a miracle is beyond hope." "Not beyond hope," he said. "A fairy gave me the power to share my wit with the one I love." Clarice looked at him, the strange face, the wild tuft of hair, the kindness in his eyes. "And what would you ask in return?" "Only this," he said softly, "that in 1 year's time, you will be free to marry me if your heart inclines. No command, no pressure, only choice." She nodded. He reached out, touching her hand. A warmth spread through her like sunlight breaking through fog. Thoughts bloomed. Words leapt. The world came alive in new color and depth. When they parted, the glade was silent. Yet everything had changed. Clarice's transformation stunned the court. Once shy and silent, she now spoke with brilliance. Ministers sought her counsel. Poets recorded her verses. Her laughter, once hollow, now filled the halls with light. But with wisdom came awareness, and with awareness came disquiet. She saw vanity where she once saw admiration, emptiness in the words of her suitors. Her heart, sharpened by thought, began to ache for something real, for the warmth she'd felt in that forest, and the sincerity of a man unafraid of imperfection. Meanwhile, in Varel, Riquet lived in patient solitude. He did not send word or demand her answer. He waited, tending his people, governing with humility. Love, he believed, could not be forced, only revealed. A year passed. One evening, as the sun bled into gold across the orchards, Clarice wandered through the royal gardens. Handsome princes had begged for her hand, offering jewels and kingdoms. But their faces blurred in her mind. Only one face returned, the one she had once thought strange, now tender and vivid in memory. She realized that the intelligence he had given her had done more than sharpen her mind. It had opened her heart. For the first time, she saw beauty not as surface, but as truth. At dusk, she mounted her horse and rode through the forest toward Varel. The wind tangled her hair. Her heart raced like thunder. She found him waiting, just as before, beneath the same silver birches. The glade was quiet. He turned as she approached, surprise softening his face. "Prince Riquet," she said, her voice trembling, "I come of my own will. I love you, not for the wit you gave me, but for the kindness that offered it. Will you accept me as your wife?" Riquet's eyes filled with tears. As he took her hand, something extraordinary happened. His face seemed to change. The rough edges softened. His features grew bright. Clarice gasped. Was it magic or love that altered her sight? The answer no longer mattered. At that moment, the fairy appeared once more, her green cloak glimmering. Her voice was calm and timeless. Children of two kingdoms, you have fulfilled the truest magic. Not the gift of wit or beauty, but the power to see beyond the surface. Let your union remind all that love creates the beauty it beholds. Their wedding united the realms of Virel and Armandia. The celebration lasted 7 days. Musicians played, poets sang, and laughter carried through the valleys. Leonore, Clarice's witty sister, composed a playful poem, a promise that one day she too might use her gift on someone worthy. As king and queen, Riquet and Clarice ruled wisely and tenderly. Their court became a place where intellect met kindness, where poets and scholars dined beside nobles, and where children grew believing that brilliance and compassion together create true majesty. Some said Riquet's face truly changed that day, reshaped by fairy magic. Others said nothing changed at all, except the eyes that saw him. But those who knew them best cared little for such debates, for in their laughter, their quiet evenings, and their just rule, everyone could see, the greatest magic is not beauty nor wisdom, but understanding. And so the story ends, as all true tales should, not with a spell, but with love that makes the ordinary shine.